for him. You know, great turnout. It's split around the room. There are 70 people. That's fantastic. And I think we've been talking about this for a while in terms of seeing up early, and folks notifying it on social media. So when you see come to this thing, it really helps drive participation. Which means we've got conversations here, get a great room here, and it's a lot more for us. So thank you all for doing your part of it, which is a great event. I think it's a feedback about this conversation that I have at the very beginning takes too long. So I kind of over stressed out and hurry up. Make sure you see, every single time where the teams, all of the board members to do this work. These are all volunteers. They don't get free memberships. It's not a big question. Say, if I'm a board member, do I get free membership? No, I still get to pay. So let's take a moment and thank these people. We have some new members, and I know this is a little stale. I read this yesterday, but I've actually talked to a couple of people today that are new members sign up today. So when I made the slide last night or the day before, they weren't there. So Samantha, Rob, all here. It's hands. No questions at all about being a member or joining us or anything else like that, please raise, talk to any of the board members for your event. See, a little teaser alert here. We've been talking about this for a while. I think it's almost as long as I've been on the board, one way or another. We're going to create an ambassador program. Next month, there'll be more details about what this is, but it's really about creating a better experience for our members. We're going to have a couple of folks, again, volunteers, who are going to be off the board, but ambassadors for the programs. And we're going to ask those people to be identifiable. But it's during sessions so that your guests or your member it's going to go talk. You've got a built-in smooth already. The networking departments and folks. So this will help you do that if you're looking to be introduced to certain types of people, other things like that. That'll help. So in addition to the whole icebreaker stickers, so we'll have more on this next month, more details about it. But at the end of the day, it's kind of it. The other piece of it is we're going to ask those ambassadors to amplify on social media. Just do a reposting of our events primarily on LinkedIn. That seems to be the main channel for us, just to help bring more membership and awareness to what we're doing here in New York. So ways to participate. This is one slide that it's not going to go away. It may change, but we'll always have this slide. I don't want to go into too much detail. Most of you have seen this. We've got a couple of different ways to join us up for these events. Quarterly membership or 90-day membership. And we always welcome guests. We do like to have guests here. So if you've got friends or associates that you're thinking, hey, benefit by going to some of these meetings, they're always welcome to us. You don't have to be on here. We love it. And so, hey, bring that. If you need help with any of those types of things. Have a referral, and this is one of the things that's really surprising to me. We have this great referral program, but we have very few people taking us up on it, which I just don't understand. And I talked to a couple people tonight who were like, "Oh yeah, I this person, they're now." You just lost 3 months to do you wrote up such potential membership. So those folks are going to say, grandfather, if you're making referrals, take advantage of it. We want to grow our membership. We want to continue to have new faces, new experiences coming into our group here. And the best way to do that for people that we know and we trust and we think are in this community is for the members that are here to be doing that. Again, we'll include a report for you if you're a member, make your referral, get 2 extra months pinned onto your annual membership. And if you're you can join for a full member if you're standing, we'll have an extra month here. Digital emails, all it takes to I'll take care of that. So I would encourage folks to do that. If we've done it in the last month, put signs at the parties to do that, and it's just these apps. We'd like to see that. 5 membership. This is our corporate membership. We have a bunch of folks here tonight from SCCU, DEXI, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Kimley-Horn. I think filled their whole out tonight. I think they actually have 7 people here tonight, so they came out. Well, yeah, well, a shout out to SCCU. This is you're now on year 3 for your corporate memberships. Thank you, SCCU. We really appreciate it. The continued membership. And we also we do like sponsorship. This is another place that always holds spot. We want to see more uptick on this and participation. And particularly the social process is really low cost way to do some fantastic marketing from our perspective. And it's here, right? Wide variety, different skill sets, so you've got a really good audience. And you also get a month's worth of marketing on our social media platforms. You know, the month preceding or coming up in this particular event is sponsored. And you get a table here to talk about what you do and help plans to get up and talk with us. So we really encourage for those of you that are out there that are coming from different companies that would like to talk to us or just share your experiences about what you do. Come talk to
Those are normally, or you know, are pretty careful. Yeah, having that access. Yeah, what I want to do is to let you all know that there's a conference coming in March. All things open in that. Before I start though, if there's one thing people do, the recession to this geography in your times, it's to understand and deploy AI. That's what's going to make you valuable. So, what's the next step? Investing in yourself. That means training. So, you need to be on the alert for where those opportunities are. This is going to be exceptional. Anyone that's been part of All Things Open and been part of that ecosystem, Todd Lewis is behind us. They're doing this at a break-even, that's why I'm involved. They want to see this geography become an AI service. And so there are 2 days, March 17th and 18th. And the first day will be training. There are 2 training opportunities. One is in super user / desktop productivity. That's the kinds of things that you want when you want to make yourself productive and you want to be productive at work. That'll give you exposure to for the different kinds of applications that are out there, teach you how to do prompting, and even agents. The other one is RAG, People Augmented Generation RAG. So those are happening on the 17th, and the opportunity is there. The second day is speakers. So because, even though this is like the first year we're doing this, because of people like Todd Lewis and others, Mark Hinkle, who's a national expert in AI, they're pulling from their network. The speakers are, I cannot even figure out who I want to listen to. There's tracks and different speakers. Say Carolina Theater, relatively small, which means they're not going to be able to sell that many tickets. I do the community outreach. It's just such a poor bet for me. I know. So I'm at meetings like this, and I am giving tickets away. I'm giving 10 tickets here, 10 tickets to many different organizations and more others to help uplift the community so that we can all get on an even keel and be ready to run, not for this. We really need it. So I encourage everyone to go look up All Things Open. It's all one word, allthingsopen.com. That's it.
Right, one of the final projects. Little workout for the March program. This is our annual one in technology panel that we'll have. We've got 3 people who've already signed up and committed to be on the panel working on additional marketing. So watch the website. More details. The registration is open. So please, again, the earlier you register, it helps us a lot from a logistical perspective. And this has always been a fantastic event that we've hosted here at AITP-RTP. So again, your district helps us follow the logistics. David is here, and is part of Kimley-Horn as well, so he's member number 1 or number 7, depending on how you want to join us tonight. And he's going to talk to us about all sorts of fun things. You know, which are this evening. He brings a lot of energy to these discussions. So I know you've all read the bio and the introduction, so I won't reread that to you. And no further ado, David.
Yeah. It works in front of a whole bunch of IT people. That's great. So I'm really concerned about that piece. My name's Andy and I am with Kimley-Horn, and it's not Kimberly, in case you're wondering, like, I always messes it up, but it's Kimley. And I oversee all of our engineering applications, is what I do. And so we're civil engineering, planning, landscape architecture, structures. I'm just telling you, if you see pavement, concrete, or asphalt, or some kind of pathway, we do that. Like, we do that. You see a pond, we're doing that. All right. If it rains on it, we're doing it. All right. That's the basic record. I am one of the owners there, so I can probably answer a lot of questions that come through about our firm. We're doing pretty good. I think we're doing pretty good, right? We got 146 offices. I know it's 8644, but because I wanted to be technical about it, so I looked it up before I left. We got 58 years of service, so 1967. 17 years as a Fortune best company to work for. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool to work for us. I love that firm, right? So, what are my areas of responsibility? For that, just to give you a little background, David Garrigus. All right, so started off as an AV electrician, got my degree in mechanical, and then I went and did civil. So bright shiny objects is what I do. Right, it's where my wheelhouse is. And then I sold software for a while, and then I got back into production, and then I got hired again by Kimley-Horn, who's one of my clients at the time. And so I've been there almost 18 years come next month. Right? So plan to retire, not a problem. Right? We're going to do this. But my main areas of responsibility are all engineering software, right? So when you guys think, this is Autodesk. So if you guys ever seen AutoCAD or any kind of drawing thing, like that's what we're doing, right? That's what we do for a living. So people who make that software are Autodesk, Bentley makes MicroStation, Open Roads, all kinds of water modeling software, right? Because then when you start putting concrete, it's like walking around and putting a foot in the puddle. We don't need it. We don't want that for you, right? We don't want that for you. So we're trying to do it right. That would be somebody else that does that puddle work. We did not do that, right? But I'm responsible for things like Esri. Esri, if you guys do things like if you pull out your phone and you can see a person's property, I'm telling you, and I know you're using your Google, you're using iPhone, whatever you're using. At the end of the day, I'm telling you, how it got there was Esri. All right, that's what's happening in the background. That's why we use it. Nearmap is a great imaging tool. Bluebeam is a PDF editor. It's a big deal for us because we have to collaborate so much, right? So you to collaborate. That's what we do. Right? So we got to back check things like that. So all the production tools, it's all going to fall underneath my team. So we're responsible for training, programming development, and deployment of all software. Right? This is pretty big. Right? It's a lot of stuff. Right? We got to train a lot of people, get a lot of things going. The other So I got like another side gig going on too, right? So I'm responsible for quality, but for our firm-wide organization. So I want you to understand that there are 10 regions to our firm, plus another region we'll call firm-wide, right? So all that supporting infrastructure. So for those people, I oversee quality for them, right? That's my fair. And then lastly, I'm always on these special projects, right? David, go figure this out. My team's getting really good, and they're doing a lot of great things. So I'm like, okay, time to let them go. Let them go do their thing, and David, go figure this out now. We want to go this direction. Okay, great, let's go do it. All right. So David, what's your superpower? Right? What's your superpower? Well, mine comes from working and turning a software vendor into a software partner. How many of you, by raise of hands, and I know you hate raising your hands. Matter of fact, on the count of 3, I want everybody to say, hey, Dave. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Awesome. All right. So now my question is, how many of you deal with software vendors? Raise your hand. Right. So you're converting them. Are they just a software vendor? Like, sound familiar? Right. Are you turning them into a software partner? Right. And that's what I do. And that's where kind of why I want to talk about partnerships tonight. Right. So we don't take the word lightly, the word partner, at all lightly in our. It's a real word. It's a real term. It's something that we're really proud of. We do. We strive for. So, in fact, we use it so much that I even have our software partners saying about Kimley-Horn, they're a good partner. So that's what I want to talk about tonight, right? Is how do you become a good partner? So, what are some attributes of a good partner? Well, I think about it a couple different ways, right? I think about, my wife. My wife, she's an awesome partner. She is, right? And I've got some great friends, and they're also great partners, right? But then I've got people that I work with. Man, you don't know how many great partners I have. They're great partners. So what are they? They inform. I can't go out and one thing I didn't do, and I mean, communicate this to somebody. Can somebody tell me when I'm at like 20 minutes or something like that? I forgot to set my blanks, so like flag me up. Thank you. So we inform, right? We inform each other. Does it make sense that, let's go back to my wife for a second. Now, I make money, she makes money, right? As all our kids are grown, by the way. All our kids are grown. So we don't have the in-house. Yeah, because they're all gone. They're all gone. Right? Does it make sense it would be irresponsible for me to just go out and buy an car and not tell her? That doesn't make sense at all. Does it make sense that I shouldn't inform my other partners in my firm if I'm about to go do something? It doesn't make sense either, right? So we got to inform. And we also have to be clear communicators, right? You can't just go around and not communicate to your partner what you're going to go do or what you're not going to go do, what you're going to get done, when you're going to go get it done. Does this make sense? Like, these are good partnership values. So you also got to trust and be reliable. There's nothing like, okay, I'm going to tell you something. True story. True story. Ask anybody here at Kimley-Horn. I have a reputation that if I say I'm going to get something done, it will get done. I'm reliable. Guaranteed. That is a fact. Right? You put a due date on something, I love it. Love it. Give me a due date. All right? I'm going to nail that thing. All right? So I'm reliable, right? And people trust me. Right? These are signs of being a good partner. Partners collaborate, right? And they respect each other. So it's, you can't do this. Well, I just tossed it over the fence to that person, right? What am I talking about? Like, does this resonate? I don't know if I'm in the right room. Am I in the right room? Right? You can't just toss it over the fence and hope for the best, right? That's not cool. That's not good. Because y'all are in it together. Do y'all realize that we are one profit center? That's what we are. I care about a person in Washington that I'll never meet, right? I worry about that person. Like, is that person being able to produce? They have everything they need to go and serve our client, because that's where we're at. We have one client. That's right. So, what about evaluating risks together? Oh no. Should I even ask people about what I'm going to go do? Because they might give me some negative feedback. And then I won't be able to get done what I want to get done. Maybe I might learn something about that and go, maybe I shouldn't go do that. Is that right? You ever seen anybody in your firm, in your company or whatever, and they're like making a move and you're like, hey, so you know, I did this over here and it failed on me. A good partner would tell them. Don't be shy, right? Sharing fiscal and fiduciary responsibility. Just last week, we were in an IT leadership meeting, and our chief operating officer was on the call, and he was doing a presentation for us. And he talked about financial and fiduciary. And when he said fiduciary, I don't know if you all know the difference between, like, I'm just doing these terms. If you have a financial planner versus a fiduciary, I would highly recommend the fiduciary. The reason why is because the fiduciary is legally bound to make sure that they're doing right by you, regardless of the judgment of themselves. Whereas, like, a financial planner might have their own products or something like that. It's just the way it is. So here he is. He's explaining to us that while he's making a decision, he also has a fiduciary responsibility to the rest of the shareholders about what he's going to go do, the decisions he's going to make. When you have a partner, it's the same thing. You're buying things together. You're making investments together. You're making decisions together. Does this make sense? It's not the company. Whatever company you're with, you're like, oh, the company has all this money. No, that's your money. Right? That's your money that you're spending. Spend it wisely together. Partners share beliefs and entrepreneurial spirit. All right, so what we really are, and the way our business really works, is we have people that are trying, engineers, landscape architects, planners, they're trying to go out and go build their practice. So they're trying to build their practice, therefore they are a practice builder, right? So while they go out there and go build their practice, they need some infrastructure behind them to go do that, right? And that's where all those supporting pieces come from. So they have to have that entrepreneurial. We need to relieve them of these other duties so they can go do what they're really good at. And let us go do what we're really good at. Right? Makes sense. So you don't want to have two people trying to go two different things. Like if I want to do engineering and you want to go build a hospital and hire doctors and stuff, that's not going to work. We're together on building the hospital, right? I want to go do that. I want to engineer that. I want to go build that vertical structure. But I don't want to worry about doctors. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a conflict, right? They put together. They stay in our core thing. So speaking of that, it's easy when partners understand the direction that they're going and have core beliefs. Now, when you look over here at these core values, I don't think anybody's seeing anything in there that they haven't seen before. These are all very familiar terms, right? And everybody would look at them and go, yeah, I heard those, right? But I want to kind of talk about them a little bit. I'll go quick. But I want to talk about our core purpose. So our core purpose is to provide an environment for our people to flourish. Now, when I first saw that, I always thought, oh, that's for our young analysts that we just hired. Does everybody else kind of see that too? Like, oh yeah, that's definitely so when they get in there, they're young, they're over here, they're going to just grow, they're going to flourish. Right, is everybody with me? But let me ask this question. So we have a chairman of the board who's coming in, and his name is Steve Leonard. Do you think we should provide an environment for Steve Lefton to flourish? You're doggone right. I want Steve Lefton to be the best Steve Lefton's ever been. Right? I mean, he's going to be the leader of our entire firm, along with Brett Whitty. These people, every person jumps higher to be the best person they've ever been. I want to make sure that they've got that correct environment. I hope that you guys can take that with you as well. Are you looking after every single person and helping them? So, honesty, integrity, ethics, this is a big deal. It's a big deal to us. I'm telling you right now, I've seen stuff. I've seen software come into our firm, y'all. I've seen software come into our firm that somebody else made and they brought it into our firm. That's called work product, by the way. Right? Guess what I did? I'm a partner. What do you think I did? Oh, somebody else. Hey, listen, this is going on. Am I narking on them or am I protecting my firm? Think about that. Think about that. I'm a partner, though. I'm not going to having my other partners out there. Can't do that. We've got to correct this. We were talking, and there was a senior person I was working with on this to help resolve this issue. And I remember him saying, he goes, David, he goes, we are Kimley-Horn. He goes, when it comes to ethics, that line better be 10 feet away from us. And I've lived that way ever since. I do not play around. Exceptional client service. I think that when I think about exceptional client service, I'm not thinking about we're at the drive-through, y'all, right? I'm talking about exceptional client service. When somebody's calling me back, when somebody's helping me out, when somebody's thinking ahead for me, that's what I'm talking about. That's what we want to go deliver to our clients, right? If I think about high expectations, I don't know. Do y'all think I have high expectations? Because I do. I do. All right? But I want to deliver well. Because if I have high expectations, I know that my staff, the people I work with, and guess what? People I serve, right? They're going to have high expectations. Why? Because our clients have high expectations. You can't just start dropping the ball, right? You can't just be the one person who's talking to the client and they have their expectations. It's going to work. It's going to be all the way, everywhere around. Sharing and caring. You can't do all this and not care about people. Come on, right? You're spending a lot of time with these people. I hope you're caring about them. I hope you're sharing with them in other ways, than just pizza or Coke or whatever that is. I hope you're sharing, if you're sharing a bunch yourselves about yourselves, and that kind of thing. I'm going to share some stuff tonight about me that, quite frankly, I hope inspires some of you to sit there and start sharing about yourselves to other people. Be like a leader, right? Sustain profitability. Today, folks, you got to get paid, right? You got to get paid. So you got to be able to go do these other things. So these are ours. Doesn't mean that they're yours, but they are ours, right? And we hold these things on a high regard. In fact, you got to see this how it works. We put clients at the top, is what we do. And we put practice teams, those practice builders, right? They're building their practice. Those are called the practice teams. And then look where the sweet spot is for us. We're the support groups, right? That's where I'm at, right over there in the support, right? And then we have management at the bottom. This is the way our firm thinks because we put our client, future customer, right, at the team. That's the way we live. So if management is the foundation, then that would mean all of the accountability rests on the leaders. True? Shake your head. Yes, that's a true statement. All right. So one of the things that we do, and I changed this word for you all because you won't understand client probably as much, but if the customer that is in front of you, you need to act as if the customer that is in front of you is your only customer. If I were to read this, and my firm was to read this, we would read it as act as if the client that is in front of you is your only client. Guess what? I'm internal, right? I'm internal. So guess what? All my clients are also my fellow partners. But guess what? I don't get to go around and like, oh, you're my partner, so therefore, I do it. No. I treat them as if they're my only client. Like, if I could lose this client, I want to make sure that I deliver for them. Does that make sense? That's the attitude you have to have, right? You don't let up, right? Like, if you're starting a business, every single new customer you get, where you go, hey, there's your money, right? That's going to be it. Think about it. All right, so I want to talk about a couple different things here, and this has to do with ServiceNow. And just to raise your hands, just to help me out here a little bit. ServiceNow. Anybody heard of ServiceNow before? Okay, awesome. Right, so ServiceNow, we took that and we signed a contract in late December of 2017. We stood about 6 months later in 2018, right? And so for those of you who don't know, we had to identify the business needs, and that meant there's not just did IT need this, but so did our supporting people that we're going to go after, right? Because our team uses service. So, this is with our automation. My team uses more automation inside ServiceNow than everybody else. We're awesome. And so then help desk ticket tracking, reporting real estate data about IT services, let you know when things are out. I'm not here to sell stuff now. You know, it's a tool, and it took a while for us to get to it, right? All right, next. So Nasuni, raise your hand. Nasuni, anybody heard Nasuni? Like boring. Okay, so good. It's okay. So think about in terms of NAS Unify. Is the best. That's the best way to look at it. All right. So we stood up the first terabyte, 50 terabytes back in 2019. It took us a year and a half to get it completely stood up. So you're really talking about data to the cloud. That's what you're talking about. So there's going to be a data server over here next to me in my office. That's great. But it's going to go up to the cloud, and then it's going to go out to. Remember, we have 126 offices. So if I'm going to go share my data and I'm going to collaborate with others, it's got to get to all those other places. This is the tool that we're using. So for backups, partners with business, all that kind of stuff, right? So we're actually answering the need of production because they were like, hey, we got to share, we got to collaborate more, right? We can't do it when all of our data is only on the server. People are mapping their drives all the way across state lines to that right there. Can you imagine? And these are big drawings, y'all. Like, we're not like doing small stuff like this. Right? We're doing like massive acres. Right? Okay. So this isn't my business. I was just thinking about y'all, and I was like, how can I make sure I resonate with people? All right. So I'm just making an observation. So let's say you want to do some real estate. Now I'm going to stay away from commercial. I just want to stick on. We're going to go buy a house. Right? Well, hopefully everybody gets to go buy a house or whatever that is. I mean, you bought one already. But here you are, you're a realtor, right? So at first all you were doing was just, okay, let me hop in my car on Saturday, we're gonna go check out 5 houses. Right? You with me? But then all of a sudden, maybe some IT guy shows up and goes, hey, do you know you can actually get a much bigger and better picture if we just popped the drone up there? And we took shots from up there, made a video of your house, and that way they could see the pool and everything in one shot. You're like, I wouldn't expect a realtor to do that, right? So all of a sudden now, you talk about that, whoa, now all of a sudden we got all this imagery. We got all this data over here. Wow. I wonder who's best to do this. I wonder who can see the need of a person and match those two things together. Talking IT people. All right, all right. So we got geographic location. So what if we had an app? Small places there. Don't have a pool, has 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, you're with me, and it's 1,800 square feet or whatever the criteria is, and show me on a map. Right? Oh man, sounds pretty IT. So what about if I said I need like an instant realtor, right? And there's a thing called Redfin. Don't know if you know about this, but you can go to Redfin. Then we'll shoot a person up there, like just have a guy show up and walk you through all these houses and stuff like that. It's awesome, right? But what if we could get rid of the realtor? Well, what if we went to a place called Open Door? Open Door has a scenario. Now, I'll say this, most of the time the house is empty. So what you can do is you can go up there and you just type in this code. You already have this thing inside your app or whatever, and you just type in this thing, and then it tells you the code. Open the door. Open the door. You're in. You take a look at the house. No realtor. Nobody's around your business at all. So all of a sudden we went, my point is that even in realtor, right, we needed a realtor, but look what happened to all the IT services behind that. You're going to be able to see that for your client. That's what we have to do. We have to be able to envision that, see the future, and be able to make that happen. Is this making sense? Good. So don't even get me started on Airbnb and Airbnb, right? Like they own it. Like if you really want to understand a piece of property that you might be going to buy, you might want to tag up on that. And they will feed you all kinds of data. All kinds. Just so you know, it's more than just what you think it is. There's a whole thing behind it. What about grocery stores? Just making an observation. It's all I'm doing. So so a long time ago, you had this register. And then you had the girl, she's over there doing the register thing. Right? So remember, then you have the bag. So you have the girl doing it and the bag boy. That was a real thing. All right. I know it's not good, but I'm just telling you the way it was. So now we got barcodes, we got scanners, we got cameras, right? There's cameras up there and everything. Recording, they get stocking predictions in real time, and then you can order stuff online. So, I mean, you see what I'm saying? People are recognizing the business. Look, this is just an observation. smart here. Like, this is just going on. So here it is. We're going to the grocery store. Now we got to order online. And now, watch this. So here's a guy who walks up and goes, hey, we got this property over here in Harris Teeter. What if we cut a hole in our parking lot and put a gas station over there, and through some kind of sports program, we tie that back, and then we make use for you. Do we see this? I'm just saying, you can look a little bit more into the future and sit there and identify things for your people you're working with. Right? So if you're the realtor, you're the grocery person, whatever. Go, hey, listen, we can also do this. You're the IT people. You're the ones who're supposed to be able to see the technology. You're the ones who are supposed to be able to see the future. Right? What is possible? That is your job. What is possible? See it for them. So I just want to know, why can't they tell me which aisle is a product that I'm after? I got to go down 3 aisles to get it out in sports drinking. Down the water in TI. It's not Amazon. It's trying to tell me Amazon is anything but a logistics and data company. I'm not saying we're going to fight. We're just going to have a long conversation, right? Because that's what that is. But you know what? It started off as books. If y'all don't know, it started off as books. I was like, well, what's wrong with Barnes and Noble? Anybody else have that first impression when that happened? Like, what's Barnes and Noble, right? And you're like, well, you've got something there. Like, well, you got a competition with eBay or something like that. We couldn't figure it out. Right? This is a true story. This is what happened. So then they started setting up cloud servers, right? Because now they got all this problems going on, so they can do this. And then they started selling that stuff. They learned how to do it, and then they started selling it. And then the next thing you know, they're blasting off rockets. Just saying. These things are going on. So my end here is that I understand we all start off, graduate, get some certificates, we're checking off the list, and then we're getting a target. Man, I made this achievement, right? And that may be your path. That may be. But then there may be like this kind of path, which looks more like mine, right? Bright, shiny objects, right? So I'm into everything, and David, go on special projects. We know your ADDs are kicked in and go with it, so whatever, right? But we'll say that everyone grows in their career. And one of the things that I've noticed is sometimes we forget that. And in our world, we send our young analysts out to the local municipality to go get drop-off plans, right? Drop-off plans. Guess what? Behind there's also a young engineer on that, and they just got hired. What do you think is going to happen over a couple of years? This person's not going to just stay right there. They're going to grow in their career, right? Well, so is this person over here. So later on in life, as this person gets older, right, and they manage more projects, what do you think that person over there is doing? Doing the same thing. And they're going to be a city engineer. Now all of a sudden, they all grew up together, didn't they? Right? Just think about people. They're all growing, right? Don't ever look at somebody where they're at today. You need to think about where they're going to be later. So if that's true, what about the person younger than you? Are you helping them? Are you coaching them? Are you mentoring them? I hope so, right? What about the person at your peer level? Okay, you ready for this? Do some hard truth here. Some of your peers are going to grow faster than you. Embrace that. It's okay. It's okay. But it will happen, right? And sometimes, hopefully the people in this room grow faster, right? And then you're growing. And what about the person who's near you, right? So should we be spending time on that person? You talk on right. They've seen a lot. Seen a lot, y'all. Seen a lot. I'm just saying, I got a lot of white hair. I've seen a lot. I got no hair and white hair is what I got. I've seen a lot. So what about you? So let's get a little personal, right? How am I doing? Am I good? Okay. So I knew I was coming into this room with a lot of varying people, right? People starting off, and brand new, and then there's bids, and then there's some senior. I knew that. But I want to point some couple things out. You need to be able to take a look at yourself. What are you doing? How are you growing rather than just your technical skills? I've got technical skills in there, and you need to do that. Way more at the younger stage than at the older, right? So everybody know that? But how's our communication doing? Is that something we need to work on? right? I don't know. Ask for some feedback, right? What about delegating? Oh my gosh. Y'all remember the first time? Well, those of us who had to delegate, we didn't delegate so good at the beginning. We didn't do so good. That wasn't so good. Didn't happen so well. Are you with me? Right? Everybody's laughing. Everybody's smiling. Yeah, no, exactly. But I want you to know you get much better at it later on. And it's a great skill. And it helps what? It helps everybody grow. And I'm telling you, the other best benefit of delegating means that you get to do other things you didn't even know you could do. Because that's all you saw. But somebody else is looking out for you and they're trying to tell you this. So take that home. All right? So prioritization, right? So are you adjusting your priorities? Are you sitting there saying to yourself, hey, listen, okay, first of all, are you working on something that's not important? If so, stop. Don't work on anything that's not important. That's bottom line. Next thing is, do you work on things? If you only work on things that are important, what are you going to do when things become urgent? So now all of a sudden we got a different problem. We have to work on the things that are urgent, don't we? Right? Because I'm telling you right now, everything on my plate is important. Right? But I got to prioritize what those things are. So self-awareness. The mere fact that you're even doing this to yourself shows that you're being self-aware. Right? So this is good. This is a good first step. You guys are already doing well. All right. And then strategy. Let me ask a question. How many people spend, by raise of hands, how many people spend as much time as they like on strategy? Exactly. You guys do that. Wow, congratulations. I really wish I could do that more. And I'm getting to, though, to be honest with you. I talk about it. But it's like most of the room, we don't. But I'm telling you now, if you really want to be able to think like what I was talking about earlier, you're going to have to start spending time. I don't know. Maybe you have to get up a half hour early, sit down at the kitchen table, and figure it out later. Because when you get into work, that's where all the fires can happen. But you've got to make. If you're talking about prioritization and setting a priority for you, strategy. You got to do it. You got to do it. Technical skills we talked about, time management. Who's awesome at time management? If you are, it's only because right now you're good at it. But I guarantee you, this was the thing. As soon as you get good at one, you're going to feel like you got to go start working on the others. And then guess what? You're going to be right back around again, and you're working on that one again. Right? Does that make sense? And then, of course, trust yourself. Start believing in yourself. You got here. You're doing good. You're making good decisions. You have great partners around you. You're sitting there talking to them. So, hey, guess what? Make a decision. Move on. Trust it. This is about me. Now I'm regretting putting it at the bottom, but I did it because of the text, because I didn't think it was going to the bottom here. So I apologize about that. So these are three things that I'm trying to give examples of, like, I'm trying to be open and hopefully inspire you. What things do you need to work on? These are three things that I have to go work on right now. All right? So mine is ensure that I'm not telling, but asking enough questions that deliver the better outcome. All right? This is something I got to work. I got to quit telling people. Right? So 1 and 2 are very similar, but they are distinct. So lead in a way that drives the direction, not the how. Right? Anybody ever been in this boat? Right? What? Not the how. I'm not trying to tell you how to do it. I'm just trying to tell you this is the direction you need to go. And how we get there, that's your problem. That's where you come in. Your strategy. You've got to figure this out. You've got to judge the resources. Figure it out. Over here, keep my head in my new directives rather than default to what I'm comfortable delivering. Who lives and loves this one? We all do, right? Man, I'm going to tell you something right now. This is a true story. True story. I had this one person. He's my CIO. His name's Nick Otto. And he said some horrible things to me one day. Horrible. Just downright horrible. I love the program. I love the program. One day he told me, I'm not kidding you at all. You know what he said to me? Right in my face. Like, I swear we were like this far. We were this far. He goes, well, David, this might be the last program you ever write. He did that. Joker's over there somewhere. I'll tell you right now. And it was. But going back to, he was caring for me, wasn't he? He was trying to show me, David, I got other things for you to go do. I don't need you doing that anymore. I need you doing something else. Right? So I'm just trying to show you, if I can be humble and show you this is what I'm trying to go do and why I'm trying to, maybe you can inspire others by you doing the same. Share with them. If I can share with like 73 people that I don't know what's going on my plate, I'll do the same. So how do you get a seat at the table? Right? You got to know your area. If you're young and you're starting off and all that kind of business, I get it. But you might not be ready yet because you don't know your area yet. You got to ace it. Right? You got to drill it down. I would don't be the first person out the door. Right? I don't know what time y'all leave. We're 7:30 to 5:30 and on Monday through Thursday and 7:30 to 11:30 on Fridays. Right? That's what we do. We also have an extra firm. And I'm just telling you, when 5:30 comes around, you might not want to be the first person out that door if you're really trying to learn something. Right? You need to put the extra time in so you learn. You're thinking it's about the firm and that time. No, this is about you and your career, you gaining that. So get on it, know your area. Earn trust by consistently delivering what is asked. Right? Deliver it. On time. You work the hours. Don't be late. Don't come up with excuses. You got to do. Does that make sense? Like, you're not spinning the table. He's not coming back. Am I hitting the right nerve? Am I hitting the right? Okay. Huh? Sure. And the last is just be a partner. So what did that mean? All those things that we talked about. You got to be a good partner, right? Know your area. Get in there. Get in the grind. It's okay. You'll be rewarded, right? I don't know how questions work in here, but I allotted time. Am I on time? Do I have any time? Right on. Okay, good.
But for transparency and posting those three things that you said you're working on, I mean that really takes the cake, for me. And especially having it at the bottom and then saying, hey, I should put it. It's almost like you did it on.
We didn't know where I was going to go.
I heard about one of the times that you were talking about showing the direction but not telling them how to do it.
Yeah.
This guy said one time to me, he said, tell you the notes that you can play, but it's up to you to play the notes, whatever style you want to play them. Just don't play different notes.
Right, yeah. I can see that. I think that, so there's a difference in what they were talking about, where I'm at right now, right? The teams that I'm leading. So I think that my team has enough knowledge, and they also know enough to know that I'm a partner. And so they should bring me in at the right time. So I'm just trying to tell them now, hey, listen, this is where we need to go. And you know how we're supposed to get there. So you call me anytime. We're not going to make you feel foolish or anything like that. Why would I do that? You're my partner. I'm not going to humiliate you or anything. We're going to build you up. We're going to do great things together. That's what we do. And so I think they have all the notes. And I don't think I'm trying not to tell them not to do it, because the other side is I hope that they would do it better than me. Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Got a question, David.
Yeah.
So you explained a lot of the culture of where you're at now, your behaviors now.
Our culture never changes.
Your behaviors now, and
yes.
how you want to be as a leader.
Yep.
How did you get there? What were the events in your career? So sure, when you were 20, and there was
How this guy saying there, oh, you're so transparent. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're sure, why not? Why not? We'll just throw you in the mud. So, and I'll share. And I think that it's a responsibility of a leader to share. And a leader that doesn't share I'm not saying shame on them. I'm just saying I wish they would reflect more, right? So here's some truth, all right? Here's some truth. When I got hired, I was hired to get Civil 3D running in our firm, right? This is a big deal. And so you can imagine here I come in and I know how to make it work. I know how to run the software, I know how to generate complaints, and I do all that. I'm a coder, I can do it, I can do all of it. Well, the thing is that I wasn't always as respectful to my IT partners that I should have been. So, have y'all ever seen Ozark? Ever seen Ozark? And even if you haven't, just imagine there's a boat, and he's in the inlet. All the other boats are all tied up, and then the boat just starts going around and around and around. You can imagine all the wake that happens, right? And all these these are expensive boats, right? These are very talented people that are around. They're expensive boats, right? So here's David. He comes in, and we're gonna get my stuff done, but I'm gonna leave a wake. All right. So I ticked some people off, right? I got my stuff done, but I didn't make a lot of friends doing it. All right. It's true story. True story. You're seeing. This is it. This is what you get. So I had a 360 feedback. It's true story. I had 360 feedback. Man, my feedback was. Is anybody 360 feedback? So I get my feedback, and man, it's like David does awesome. No, David can get all this stuff done. It's all that. And then there was the other part. And that part was David is a jerk. All right. And so plus some other things, right? And so I wasn't listening well. I wasn't doing those kind of things. And so that's what I had to do. I had to go and work on those things. And man, I was crushed. I was crushed. But I had to work through that, and here I am today. So that's how it happened. True story.
Kudos to you for taking that portion of that 360 and working on it.
Well, thank you. But I will say, I also had partners. And I had this one partner, and it was I was on phone calls, and he was on a phone call, and it's a Teams meeting, right? And so I didn't know. And so I didn't know where I was messing up. And he would come back and go, "Dave, shut up." I'm like, "Oh my God, this." And I had to catch myself in those scenarios, right? I had to learn, I didn't know that I was doing it until somebody pointed me out. And so I was thinking, oh, for sure. Still to this day. Still to this day. I have many, by the way. I don't want to tie on all the others. I'm in a very fortunate position where report I report to a lot of people. I'm responsible. I see it in the back. I'll get you. I report to a lot of people that are very, very senior, and they're also will pull me aside and, "Hey, Dave, let's talk about this part or that part." So I appreciate that. But yes, yes, sir.
So earlier you gave an example of an advocate of
Steve left it, our chairman report.
when
Yes.
the group talked about closest to life. You that example.
Yes.
What if that requires or change over?
So what is it? So the question is like, how do I provide it? So basically the question is, how do I provide an environment for him to flourish?
Entails.
Okay, so here you are. So let me see if I can answer the question. So here you are. You're Steve left it, and now it's being reported to go on the internet. And oh my gosh, I hope I have a job next year. But I would say that when Steve is trying to drive things, right? Steve is trying to drive things and do things. It would seem that if Steve reaches out, and this is a true story, Steve reached out, he's asked me to do something. They had me on a special project, right? And so, but when I did it, I had to make sure that I did it my very, very best. And when I report back to him, I'm going to make sure that I'm giving him my very, very best. Right? So on that project, we're going to go back and deliver, and actually then do a lot of people. But if he calls me and asks me for a question, he asks me a question, right? I will be very direct. right about that. I know that senior folks don't really want to hear a whole story, right? I'll give an example. Let's go chase that down a little bit. You ever sat in a room with somebody and you ask them a question, and then they tell you all the things about, I mean, it goes on, right? Do you think they need to hear that? Let me ask the first question. Do you need to hear that? No, you don't, right? So do you think he does? His time I treat as very valuable, right? So I'm going to be as direct and answer him as truthfully as I possibly can, and I'm going to guess what he's trying to get at. And I'll validate it, but I'm going to be quick about it. I'm not going to waste his time. So that's the way, but that doesn't change with other people as well. So the same thing I'm doing for him is the same thing I'm going to do for others too as well. I don't want to make him be exclusive to that, right? Because the other people are partners as well, right? But I think if you're asking me specifically about him, those are some instances that I have worked with him. And, if he called, matter of fact, he was the one who called me up and said, I'm a shareholder. That was a big deal. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you're just signal.
I have a question. Experience we are now. Yeah, history, the other companies. But let's say over time, in the market, companies buy up companies.
Okay.
Right? However, the acquisition happens, you're part of bigger fish that eat the little fish, whatever. You're going to find times where there's competing cultures. Like, have you worked at a place, or how has your experience been? Cultures maybe conflict or clash. How have you seen it go well? I don't care about the ones you've had. That you should know the bigger. The ones that go well, like, how have you seen when cultures don't keep the niche? Is that a good question?
Yeah, I think that, okay, so I've been involved in several scenarios where an office decides to join a firm decides to join and this is after Kevin. And so I've seen where at the end of the day, people are good people. They're trying to do the right thing. And I think people, when they join another firm, and it may not necessarily be a competing culture, I think it's more, there's some people that are on a fixed way, and they're concerned. And I think that this goes back to that sharing and caring, right? Like we have to be mature enough to recognize that this person is going through something that they've never done, and they're afraid, right? They don't know what's going to happen. So if that's true, I spend time with that person one-on-one a lot, right? To kind of coach that thing through, figure out what their real problem is. You got to imagine they've got a set way of they're going to work. And so they're expecting a certain workflow, but now all of a sudden that's disrupted. And maybe they had a certain workflow that requires certain commands that they were using. And now all of a sudden they can't use those anymore for whatever reason. Or maybe there's better tools, but they're used to that one. And there's a matching one, and we're not going to support all of these things. We're just going to keep going with this one, and you'll be better off for it. I absolutely remember, I'm picturing one that did happen, and I sat with that engineer, and we worked through it, and then we went to lunch, and the next day we worked together again and again, and then it didn't become a culture as much as I was befriending that person, because this is my future partner, right? Right now, they didn't feel that way to them, but I knew that. I knew they were a young partner. They just didn't know it yet. And so I remember like 2 years later, something happened, and that person called me up as if like we never skipped a beat. Totally trusted me. Let's go with David. Let's get David on the call. Let's go do that. Does that help? Is that okay? Cool.
Great. Thank you very much, David.
Thank you all very much.